Do you have my back? Always, Dutch.
Dutch Van der Linde is a central character and one of the primary antagonists of Red Dead Redemption, and he is also making an appearance in Red Dead Redemption 2, however his role is currently unknown. Dutch Van der Linde was the leader of the infamous Van der Linde gang, which once operated in West Elizabeth. Notable gang members included John Marston, Abigail Marston, Bill Williamson, Javier Escuela, and possibly Red Dead Redemption 2's Arthur Morgan. At the time, Dutch was an altruistic, idealistic rogue, believing the gang could make a difference in the world. He fashioned himself into a Robin Hood figure, taking money from those who had money than they could ever need, and giving it to those who had very little and truly needed it. He saw himself as a symbol of the romanticized Wild West, and a humanitarian champion of the people, opposing government control, supporting individual liberty, and punishing the general human cruelty and selfishness. His image and charisma inspired his gang to believe in his vision of a savage utopia, and it was in the name of Dutch and his cause that they committed crimes such as murder and robbery. As the years rolled by, Dutch slowly began to realize the futility of his cause, with the new technology making it easier for the government to exert control over the people. Liberty had been given way to bureaucracy. The violence and greed of humanity had not stopped, and no one had been inspired by his example. His work had ultimately changed nothing. Worse still, the truth of his own hypocrisy crept deeper and deeper into Dutch's thoughts. He and his gang had attempted to change the world for the better, yet in doing so they had become the worst humanity had to offer. His idealism turned to extreme anger, and Dutch gradually descended into madness, masking his pain with meaningless violence and unfocused hatred of everything and everyone around him. In the end, Dutch himself caused the disillusionment of the other gang members. Van der Linde had not been seen nor heard from in several years, and despite claims of sightings, was thought to have perished in a fire following a botched robbery in 1906. During one of the cutscenes in The Gates of El Presidio, it is rumored that Dutch is in Colombia, and not likely to be seen ever again. This is proven to be false, and Dutch goes to play a central role in the remainder of the story. When Bill Williamson is killed in Mexico, Edgar Ross declares John is not finished. He is told Dutch Van der Linde is back in the West Elizabeth region, and Marston is obligated to kill him. Together with a Native American named Nastus and Professor Harold McDougal, John tries to hunt down Dutch. John kills a man after a battle to reach Dutch's mountain hideout and picks up his binoculars, a vital tool in Red Dead Redemption. When looked through, John observes Dutch killing a police officer. He then looks through again to see Dutch has his pistol pointed at Marston. A shot is fired, but it hits the binoculars and knocks Marston out. Dutch recruits disenfranchised young Native Americans off the local reserves for his new gang. John and a posse of U.S. Marshals stake out the bank and wait for a chance to kill Dutch. However, this mission goes south when the gang kills a man in the front entrance and fights off the posse. John corners Dutch in an upper room, but he has taken a woman hostage and uses her as a human shield.
Oh, it's nice to see you, John.
Hello, Dutch.
How's Abigail?
Well, I hope. Ain't seen her for a while.
'Cause you've been chasing me?
Let the woman go, Dutch.
Of course. Of course. How's your little boy?
He ain't so little now.
No, he must be what? 15? 16? Doesn't time fly?
Don't adjust. It's over, man.
Of course. Of course. I surrendered, John. You're the master now.
I've been my master since you left me to die.
We all make mistakes, John. I never claimed to be a saint, but equally, I never took you for an errand boy.
Just trying to help my family, Dutch. By making compromises we all have to. Now let her go. It's over.
You want the girl, John? You always were the romantic sort. You know, gentlemen, this man here, oh, he married a whore. Used to ride with us. We all had her. Oh, but he married her. And you know that makes him a better man than us. He's a better man. Have the girl, John.
Easy, Dutch.
She's a parting gift from me.
Dutch escapes after shooting the girl in the head and throwing her body into Marston's arms. Next, Dutch surrounds the Blackwater Hotel while John and Professor McDougal are inside. Shouting up at John, he announces that he has plans on killing John and the Professor for sport.
Oh, great heavens above!
Is that you, John?
Hello, Dutch.
I think that's what they call two for the price of one out here in this wonderful place.
Maybe so, Dutch.
You and your friend there, the Professor, we're gonna kill the both of you.
Why you want to do a thing like that?
I don't know. Sport, I guess.
Fair enough. Why don't I come out there? We fight. Let the Professor go and send your boys back to their family.
Well, that sounds like a beautiful plan, John. Only problem is, my boys here, they already lost their families a long time ago. We aren't thieves, John. We're fighting for something a bit like you. Only we're fighting for an idea, not just for ourselves.
That's beautiful, Dutch. You always were a fine speaker.
I was. Now, would you kindly send that academic out here so we can show him what we really think about the art of anthropology?
However, John and McDougal escape out of a window and across the rooftops before reaching a pair of waiting horses. John is then able to safely escort McDougal to the train station at Manzanita Post. In the final assault of his hideout with the U.S. Army, John and the government agents wipe out his army. Together, he and Dutch battle with each other. Eventually, Marston gains the upper hand and chases Dutch to the edge of a cliff.
Hello again, John.
Hello, Dutch.
We gotta stop meeting like this.
Sure.
I got a plan, John.
You always got a plan, Dutch.
This is a good one.
I don't doubt it.
We can't always fight nature, John. We can't fight change. Can't fight gravity. We can't fight nothing. My whole life, all I ever did was fight.
Then give up, Dutch.
But I can't give up, neither. I can't fight my own nature. That's a paradox, John. You see?
Then I have to shoot you.
When I'm gone, they'll just find another monster. They have to. Because they have to justify their wages.
That's their business.
Our time has passed, John.
Marston and Dutch exchange words, with Dutch explaining how he can't fight his nature, so he can't change. He then tells John that he is a dying breed in a changing world, choosing suicide over surrendering to the U.S. Army. Dutch tells John that their time has passed and promptly falls back off the cliff's edge. Ross uses Marston's pistol to shoot the corpse, claiming it will look better in a report.
Trust me, it looks better in the report that way.
Dutch seems to want a world that goes along the line of a hunter-gatherer society, a world that opposes technology and governmental control, and where men fight to survive, a world where men live like they did in the Wild West. When Dutch appears, he is fighting against the town of Blackwater, which is filled with agents of technology. Since Dutch once fought for the poor, and the agency in Blackwater constantly take from the poor. This means that Dutch sees the New West as an evil. Also, since he has fought against government and the banks his whole life, this means that he may want to not only destroy Blackwater, but he may also want to completely destroy all government, currency, and social order. The way he attains this appears to be recruiting soldiers and taking out towns that are hotspots for government agencies and technology, and he is unafraid to kill to achieve this world. Another part of Dutch's philosophy seems to be returning to the older ways. While the New West promotes clothing, technology, and civilization, Dutch seems to want to move back to the Old West, which promotes survival, discipline, and using skill and courage to overcome hardship. Dutch himself is shown to be a merciless killer who justifies killing innocent people or lawmen as a way of combating the corruption of the federal government. Despite his brutal ways, Dutch is shown to be educated and, unlike many outlaws, is committing these crimes for idealistic reasons rather than greed. In conversations, John refers to Dutch's past actions and crimes with a Robin Hood-like idealism. However, John has also stated that this idealism was really just an excuse to mindlessly kill and rob people. This became more obvious as Dutch grew more violent and erratic as the time went on, to the point where John even questioned his sanity. By the mid-1900s, the once idealistic rogue had become the delusional, fanatic killer who was secretly aware that all of his horrible crimes he had committed changed nothing about the government. In his final moments, Dutch expresses remorse for his actions, telling John that he couldn't stop fighting for his ideas because it was who he was. He even described himself as a monster. Before committing suicide, Dutch told John, "Our time is past," signifying his acceptance that the Old West way of life was dead, and his ideals along with it. That has been everything we know about Dutch Van der Linde from Red Dead Redemption. If you want to see more, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video. Thank you for watching.
It's so far, so far.